When Elon Musk walked into an airport lounge on a rainy Tuesday night, he had no idea his entire life was about to change. He was tired, scrolling through his phone, just wanting to catch his flight home. But then he heard something that made his blood run cold, a laugh he hadn't heard in 7 years, a laugh that once meant everything to him. He looked up and there she was, Natasha Chen, his ex-wife, the woman who'd left him and disappeared completely. The woman he'd never stopped loving, even though he'd lost her forever. Their eyes met across the crowded lounge, and for 15 seconds neither of them could move. Time itself seemed to stop. Other travelers faded into the background. It was just the two of them, staring at each other with 7 years of pain and silence hanging in the air between them. Then Elon did something nobody expected. He stood up, his hands shaking, and walked straight toward her. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a worn, yellowed envelope, a letter he'd been carrying every single day for 7 years. When Natasha saw it, her face went pale. Her eyes filled with tears. She whispered just one word, "You kept it." But that letter wasn't the shocking part, not even close. What happened in the next 5 minutes would change everything. What Natasha told him next, the secret she'd been hiding for 6 years, would bring Elon to his knees, crying in the middle of that airport lounge while strangers watched and cameras recorded everything. The video went viral instantly, 50 million views in just a few hours. The whole world was watching Elon Musk break down in public, but nobody knew why. Nobody understood what Natasha had just told him. Nobody knew about the secret that would shock everyone. What was in that letter? What secret had Natasha been hiding? And why did Elon cancel everything? Every meeting, every launch, every commitment, to fly across the world with her that same night? Stay with me, because this story will take you on an emotional journey you'll never forget. This is the true story of second chances, of lost time, and of a moment in an airport lounge that changed 3 lives forever. Let me take you back to where it all began. The rain hammered against the tall windows of the Delta Sky Club at Los Angeles International Airport. It was the kind of California rain that surprised everyone, heavy, cold, and relentless. Inside the exclusive lounge, business travelers hunched over laptops, sipped overpriced wine, and checked their watches every few minutes. Elon Musk sat alone in a corner booth as far from the crowd as possible. His black baseball cap was pulled low over his eyes. His hoodie sleeves were pushed up to his elbows. 3 empty coffee cups sat on the table in front of him, forming a small paper tower of exhaustion. He scrolled through his phone without really seeing anything. Emails, messages, problems that needed solving, rockets that needed launching, cars that needed building, the usual chaos of his life. His flight to Austin had been delayed by 2 hours because of the storm. He didn't mind. For once, he had nowhere urgent to be, no meeting in 30 minutes, no board expecting him, just 2 hours of forced quiet in an airport lounge. He rubbed his tired eyes and thought about ordering another coffee, probably a bad idea. He hadn't slept well in weeks, maybe months. When did he last sleep more than 4 hours? He couldn't remember. That's when he heard it, a laugh, not just any laugh. A specific laugh, musical and bright like wind chimes on a summer day. A laugh he hadn't heard in person for 7 years but could still recognize in a room of 1,000 people. Elon's hand froze on his phone. His whole body went rigid. It couldn't be. He looked up slowly, almost afraid of what he'd see. There, walking through the entrance of the lounge, shaking rain from her dark blue coat, was Natasha Chen, his ex-wife, his first love. The woman who left him 7 years ago and disappeared from his life completely. Time stopped. The businessman talking loudly on his phone faded away. The flight announcements became distant echoes. The rain against the windows went silent. Everything in the universe narrowed to one point. Natasha, standing 20 feet away, reaching into her purse for her boarding pass. She looked almost exactly the same. Same dark hair, though shorter now, cut to her shoulders. Same graceful way of moving. Same focused expression she always got when she was searching for something. But she was different too. More confident maybe. She stood straighter. Her clothes were nicer. A professional but stylish outfit that said she'd done well for herself. There was something peaceful about her that hadn't been there before, like she'd found something she'd been looking for. Elon's heart pounded so hard he thought everyone in the lounge must hear it. His hands started shaking. 7 years of buried feelings erupted all at once. Love, regret, pain, hope, fear. All of it crashed over him like a wave. What was she doing here, in Los Angeles, in this airport, in this exact lounge? Natasha handed her boarding pass to the attendant at the desk. She smiled and said something Elon couldn't hear. The attendant nodded and waved her through. Elon wanted to look away. He should look away, put his cap down further, hide, let her walk past without seeing him. That would be easier for everyone. But he couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything except stare. Natasha turned from the desk and scanned the lounge, looking for an empty seat. Her eyes swept across the room casually, and then they landed on him. Her whole body froze mid-step. Her carry-on bag slipped from her shoulder and hung awkwardly from her elbow. The smile disappeared from her face, replaced by shock, then something Elon couldn't quite read. Recognition, disbelief, maybe fear. For 15 seconds, Elon counted everyone. They just stared at each other across the crowded airport lounge. Neither moved, neither blinked. The rain continued to hammer the windows. A baby cried somewhere in the distance. A flight attendant announced boarding for Dallas. But in the space between Elon and Natasha, the world stood completely still. Her lips parted slightly, like she wanted to say something but forgot how to speak. Her hand gripped the strap of her bag so tightly her knuckles turned white. Elon felt like he was watching himself from outside his own body. He saw himself sitting there, frozen, looking at the woman he'd never stopped thinking about. The woman he'd loved and lost. The woman who'd written him a letter that he'd carried in his pocket every single day for 7 years. The letter. The thought jolted him into action. Before he could talk himself out of it, before logic or fear could stop him, Elon stood up. His chair scraped loudly against the floor. Several people glanced over and a few did double takes when they recognized his face. But Elon didn't care. He didn't care if people were watching. Didn't care if someone pulled out their phone to record. Didn't care about anything except the fact that Natasha Chen was standing 20 feet away and this might be his only chance. He took a step toward her. His legs felt shaky, like he'd forgotten how to walk. Natasha still didn't move. She watched him approach with wide eyes. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. She looked like she was deciding whether to run or stay. Please don't run, Elon thought, please. He took another step, then another. The distance between them shrank, 15 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet. Up close, he could see more details. Tiny lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. A thin scar on her chin he didn't recognize. A small silver streak in her hair near her temple that somehow made her even more beautiful. She smelled like jasmine, the same perfume she'd worn when they were married. The scent hit him like a physical force, bringing back 1,000 memories all at once. Late nights coding together, Sunday mornings making pancakes. Her head on his shoulder while they watched rocket launches. Natasha, he said. His voice came out rough and cracked. He cleared his throat and tried again. Natasha. Elon. She said his name like she was testing if it was real. Her voice was quieter than he remembered, but it still had that same warmth underneath. I didn't expect. Me neither. The words felt completely inadequate. There were a million things he wanted to say, needed to say, but his brain couldn't form coherent sentences. An awkward pause stretched between them. Around them, the airport lounge continued its normal rhythm. People walked past with coffee and carry-ons. Someone laughed at a table nearby. The storm outside showed no signs of stopping. But in their small bubble, everything felt fragile and important and terrifying. Elon noticed people starting to recognize him. Phones were slowly coming out of pockets. A teenager 2 tables away was definitely filming them. Soon this moment would be on social media. His publicist would have a heart attack. He didn't care about any of it. "You look good," he managed to say, though the words felt painfully inadequate. "Really good." A tiny, sad smile flickered across Natasha's face. "Thank you, you look tired." "Yeah," he almost laughed. "Trust Natasha to be honest. It's been a long few months, years actually." She adjusted her bag on her shoulder, a nervous gesture he remembered well. She always did that when she was uncomfortable. I should probably find a seat." "Wait." The word came out more desperately than he intended. He reached into the inside pocket of his jacket, his hand shaking slightly. Natasha's eyes followed his movement, curious and cautious. Elon pulled out a small, worn envelope. The edges were soft from years of handling. The paper had yellowed slightly. Her name was written on the front in his handwriting, but underneath it he could see her handwriting too. His name, from the original letter she'd written him 7 years ago. The moment Natasha saw the envelope, her eyes went impossibly wide. The color drained from her face. She took a sharp breath. You, her voice was barely a whisper. You kept it. Elon held the envelope carefully like it was made of glass, like it was the most precious thing he owned, because it was. Every single day, he said quietly, "Can we sit just for a few minutes?" His eyes met hers, and for the first time in 7 years, he let her see everything he felt, all the regret, all the pain, all the love that never died. "I need to tell you something." Natasha stared at the envelope in his hand. 1,000 emotions flickered across her face too quickly to name. Finally, she nodded just once. "Okay," she whispered, 5 minutes. Neither of them knew that those 5 minutes would change everything. Neither of them knew that the teenager filming them would accidentally capture the most important moment of their lives. And neither of them knew that the secret Natasha had carried for 7 years was about to come out, shocking not just Elon, but eventually the entire world. Austin, Texas, 8 years ago. The tech conference was small, held in a cramped hotel ballroom that smelled like old carpet and burnt coffee. Maybe 200 people attended, mostly engineers and startup founders who couldn't afford the bigger conferences in San Francisco or New York. Elon Musk wasn't famous yet, not like he would become. He had money, sure. His companies were growing. Some people in tech circles knew his name, but he could still walk through a hotel lobby without being mobbed. He could still eat lunch alone without someone filming him. He almost didn't go to the conference that day. He had 1,000 things to do back at the office, rockets to design, production problems to solve, investors to convince. But his friend Marcus had begged him to come speak on a panel about the future of renewable energy. "Just 1 hour," Marcus had promised. "Then you can disappear back into your cave and build your spaceships." Elon agreed, mostly because Marcus never asked him for favors. The panel was boring. The other speakers talked in circles, saying nothing interesting. Elon gave short, direct answers that made half the audience uncomfortable and the other half lean forward in their seats. After the panel ended, Elon headed straight for the exit. He had a flight to catch, work waiting. No time for networking or small talk. That's when he literally ran into her. He turned a corner too fast, looking at his phone, and crashed directly into someone carrying a tall cup of coffee. The coffee went everywhere, all over her white shirt, all over his jacket, all over the ugly hotel carpet. "Oh God, I'm so sorry." Elon grabbed napkins from a nearby table and started helplessly dabbing at the coffee spreading across her shirt. Then he realized what he was doing and stopped abruptly, his face turning red. "Sorry, I shouldn't have." The woman looked down at her ruined shirt, then up at Elon. Instead of being angry, she laughed. That laugh, musical and bright and completely genuine. "Well, that's one way to make an impression," she said. "Though usually people just introduce themselves." Elon stared at her. She had dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, sharp, intelligent eyes, and a smile that made the ugly hotel hallway seem brighter. She wore a conference badge that said, "Natasha Chen, Software Engineer, Bytewave Systems." "I'm Elon," he managed to say, "and I'm apparently a walking disaster." "I'm Natasha, and I really liked this shirt." She grinned to show she wasn't actually upset. "But I guess it was ugly anyway. My mom bought it." "I'll buy you a new shirt. 10 new shirts. A whole closet of shirts." Elon was rambling, which he never did. Something about her made him nervous in a way business meetings never did. "How about you just buy me dinner instead?" Natasha said. "I came to this conference alone, and eating alone in hotels is depressing. Plus, you owe me for ruining my second favorite shirt." Elon forgot about his flight, forgot about the work waiting, forgot about everything except the woman standing in front of him, covered in coffee, smiling like she just won something. "Dinner," he agreed. "Absolutely. Yes." They talked for 6 hours that night, over dinner at a small Italian restaurant, then over coffee at a diner that stayed open late, then walking along the Colorado River as the sun came up. Natasha told him about her work building security software, about growing up in California with immigrant parents who worked 3 jobs to send her to college, about her dream of starting her own company someday that would make technology accessible to kids who couldn't afford it. Elon told her about his companies, his vision for sustainable energy and space travel, about feeling like he was racing against time to make humanity a multiplanetary species, about the crushing pressure of trying to change the world while everyone bet against you. "You're not racing against time," Natasha said as dawn broke over the river. "You're racing against yourself. That's harder." No one had ever said anything that true to him before. They dated long distance for 6 months. Elon flew to Austin whenever he could. Natasha flew to Los Angeles on weekends. They video called every night, often falling asleep on the call together, her face the last thing he saw before his eyes closed. She understood him in a way no one else did. She didn't just love him, she saw him. The real him, not the public persona or the ambitious entrepreneur. Just Elon with all his flaws and fears and dreams. 10 months after they met, Elon proposed in the same hotel hallway where they'd first crashed into each other. He brought a cup of coffee as a prop. "I promise not to spill this one," he said, getting down on one knee. "But I might spill my heart instead. Natasha, you're the smartest, kindest, most incredible person I've ever met. Will you marry me?" She said yes before he finished the question. They got married 3 months later in a small ceremony at a vineyard in Napa Valley. 20 guests, casual clothes, handwritten vows. Natasha wore a simple white dress and flowers in her hair. Elon cried during his vows, which surprised everyone, including himself. "I promise to build a life with you, not just companies," he said, holding both her hands. "I promise to be present, not just physically here, but actually here, with you, always." He meant it when he said it. He really did. The first year of marriage was beautiful. They bought a modest house in Palo Alto, not a mansion, just a comfortable home with a backyard and a garage where Natasha set up her own workshop. She'd quit her job to start her nonprofit, working on educational software for underprivileged kids. Elon helped her in the evenings. They'd sit side by side, coding, talking, dreaming together. On weekends, they'd go hiking or spend entire days in bed reading and making love and talking about the future. "We'll have kids someday," Natasha would say, her head on his chest. 3 of them. They'll be brilliant and weird and perfect. "Just like their mother," Elon would reply, kissing her forehead. But slowly things changed. Elon's companies hit critical moments. A rocket exploded, production lines failed, investors threatened to pull funding. The pressure mounted like water behind a dam. He started working longer hours. 14-hour days became 16-hour days, then 18, then 20. He'd come home at midnight, eat whatever Natasha left for him in the fridge, and fall asleep at his laptop on the couch. Natasha tried to be understanding. She knew what he was building mattered. She believed in his vision. But belief doesn't keep you warm at night when your husband hasn't touched you in weeks. Belief doesn't fill the empty chair at dinner. Belief doesn't answer when you ask, "Do you even still see me?" She started going to bed alone, started eating dinner alone, started spending entire weekends alone while Elon camped at the office, solving crisis after crisis. Her nonprofit struggled without his support. Not financial support, he still paid for everything. But she needed his advice, his partnership, his brain working alongside hers like it used to. She needed her husband, not just his bank account. "Elon, we need to talk," she said one Sunday morning. He'd been home for once, but only because he was too exhausted to drive. "Can it wait? I have a call with the engineering team in 20 minutes. He didn't look up from his laptop. "No, it can't wait. It's been waiting for 6 months. Natasha sat down across from him. "You promised me you'd be present. You promised we'd build a life together. But I'm building a life alone while you build rocket ships." "That's not fair." Elon finally looked up, irritation flashing in his eyes. "You knew who I was when you married me. You knew this was important." "I thought I was important too." The words hung in the air like smoke. Elon's face softened. He closed his laptop. "You are, Natasha, you're the most important." "Don't," she held up her hand. "Don't say words you don't have time to back up with actions. I can't keep living like a widow to a man who's still alive. I can't keep wondering if my husband even remembers I exist." "I just need a few more months," Elon pleaded. "Once we get through this production cycle, once the next launch succeeds." "There's always going to be a next launch," Natasha's voice cracked. "Always another crisis, another deadline, another reason why tomorrow is more important than today. I can't compete with saving humanity, Elon, and I'm tired of trying." They fought that day, really fought for the first time in their relationship. Voices raised, tears shed, truths spoken that couldn't be unspoken. The fights became more frequent after that. Weeks of silence broken by explosive arguments. Make-up sessions that felt more like temporary truces than actual peace. They were two people drowning in separate oceans, too far apart to save each other. 2 years into their marriage, Natasha stopped fighting. Not because she stopped caring, but because she finally understood something heartbreaking. Loving Elon meant losing herself, and she couldn't do that anymore. "I want a divorce," she said one quiet Tuesday evening. No anger, no tears, just exhausted acceptance. Elon looked up from his laptop like she'd slapped him. "What?" "I love you," Natasha continued, her voice steady despite the pain in her eyes. "I'll probably always love you, but love isn't enough when one person is present and the other is orbiting Mars." The divorce was quiet and civil. Lawyers handled most of it. They divided their minimal shared assets. Natasha took almost nothing. She didn't want his money, didn't want anything that would tie them together longer than necessary. The last time they saw each other was at the lawyer's office, signing papers. They didn't hug, didn't kiss goodbye, just signed their names and walked away from what could have been forever. That night, alone in a hotel room because she couldn't bear to go back to their empty house, Natasha wrote Elon a letter. She poured every feeling onto the page, all the love, all the pain, all the grief for their beautiful broken thing. At 2 a.m., she drove to his office and slid the letter under his door. Then she went home, packed 2 suitcases and bought a one-way ticket to Singapore. She never looked back. She didn't know that Elon found the letter at 6 a.m. when he arrived at the office, having slept there again. She didn't know he read it 17 times that morning, tears streaming down his face. She didn't know he tried to call her over and over, only to find she'd blocked his number. She didn't know he went to the airport, desperate to stop her, only to learn her flight had left an hour before. And she definitely didn't know that he kept that letter with him every single day for the next 7 years, carrying his biggest regret in his pocket like a stone. Present day, LAX Airport Lounge. Elon and Natasha walked to his corner booth in complete silence. Every step felt heavy, like moving through water. The distance was only 20 feet, but it felt like crossing an ocean. Other travelers watched them pass. A few recognized Elon and whispered to their companions. One man pulled out his phone, pretending to check messages but clearly recording them. Elon noticed but didn't care. Let them film. Let them wonder. Nothing mattered except the woman walking beside him. They reached the booth. Natasha slid into the seat across from him, setting her carry-on bag carefully on the floor. Her hands were shaking slightly. She clasped them together on the table to hide it. Elon sat down slowly, placing the worn envelope between them like a bridge, or maybe a bomb. He wasn't sure which. Up close, under the harsh lounge lighting, he could see more details. The tiny lines around her eyes that came from smiling. She'd been happy without him. A small scar on her chin he didn't recognize. Something had happened to her that he knew nothing about. A delicate silver necklace with a small pendant he couldn't quite see, maybe a gift from someone else. 7 years. 7 entire years of her life that he'd missed. 7 years of moments and changes and growth that happened without him. The thought made his chest ache. She smelled exactly the same, though. Jasmine perfume. The scent transported him back instantly. Sunday mornings tangled in sheets, her head on his shoulder during movies, dancing in their kitchen at midnight to no music at all. "So," Natasha said quietly, breaking the silence. Her voice was steadier now, but he could hear the tremor underneath. "You kept my letter. I've carried it with me every single day since you left." Elon's voice came out rough. He cleared his throat. "Every single day." Natasha's breath caught. Her eyes, those beautiful dark eyes he'd dreamed about for 7 years, filled with tears that she blinked back furiously. "But you never responded. I tried calling from different numbers. I sent emails. I even came back to California once, but I couldn't get past your security team. I thought," she paused, swallowing hard, "I thought you threw it away. I thought you didn't care." The words hit Elon like physical blows. "I read it the morning you left. You were already on a plane. I drove to the airport like a crazy person, calling you over and over, 17 times from the car." His jaw clenched with emotion. "You'd blocked my number." "Because it hurt too much to hear your voice," Natasha whispered. A single tear escaped and rolled down her cheek. She wiped it away quickly like she was embarrassed. "What I wrote in that letter, it was everything I couldn't say to your face, everything I felt." "I know." Elon's hands trembled on the table. He wanted to reach for her but didn't know if he was allowed anymore. "You wrote that loving me felt like loving a ghost, that I was physically there but emotionally somewhere in orbit around Mars. He closed his eyes briefly. You said you felt invisible, that you'd stand right in front of me and I'd look through you, not at you. Natasha's mouth opened in shock. You memorized it. Every single word. Elon opened his eyes and looked directly at her. I can recite the whole thing. Want me to prove it? Dear Elon, I'm writing this at 2 a.m. because I can't say these words to your face without falling apart. I love you. I need you to know that first. Everything that follows comes from love, not anger. Stop, Natasha's voice broke. More tears fell faster now. She didn't try to hide them anymore. Please stop. You asked if you were being selfish for wanting your husband to remember your birthday, Elon continued, his own eyes wet now. You asked if you were being unreasonable for wanting one dinner where I didn't check my phone. You said you felt like you were competing with the entire future of humanity and losing. A sob escaped Natasha's throat. Around them, people were definitely staring now. Someone at the next table leaned closer, obviously trying to eavesdrop. The teenager with his phone out had moved to a better angle. Elon didn't care about any of it. 7 years of walls were crumbling. 7 years of pushing down feelings were erupting like a dam breaking. You ended the letter by saying, "Find me when you found yourself," Elon said softly. And I've spent 7 years trying to find myself so I could find you. But you disappeared completely, changed your number, deleted your social media, moved to another country. It was like you never existed except in my memories and this letter. Natasha covered her face with both hands. Her shoulders shook. I had to disappear. Staying close to you, even digitally, was killing me. Every article about you felt like a knife. Every photo of you with someone else at events. She dropped her hands, revealing a face streaked with tears. I loved you too much to watch you live your life without me, so I built a new life where I didn't have to see. I never moved on, Elon said simply. People think I did. I dated, went to events, smiled for cameras, but I was empty inside, going through motions. Every woman I met I compared to you. No one measured up. Elon, Natasha reached across the table, then stopped herself, her hand hovering in the middle. Why are you telling me this now? Because you're here. His voice was raw with honesty. Because after 7 years of carrying this letter, carrying this regret, carrying this grief for what we lost, you're sitting 3 feet away from me. And I can't let you disappear again without telling you the truth. What truth? That I was wrong about everything. You weren't being selfish. You weren't asking for too much. You were asking for the bare minimum to be seen, to matter, to exist in your own marriage. Elon's hands clenched into fists. And I failed you. I failed us. I chose rocket ships over holding your hand. I chose board meetings over breakfast with you. I built companies but lost my home. The lounge announcement system crackled to life. Now boarding flight 287 to Singapore at gate 52. All passengers please proceed to the gate. Natasha's head whipped toward the speaker. Her face went pale. That's my flight. Don't go yet. Elon's voice was almost pleading. Please. There's something else in this envelope. Something I've carried for 7 years but never had the chance to give you. Natasha looked at the envelope, then at the clock on the wall, then back at Elon. Indecision played across her face. Finally, she pulled out her phone and checked something. I have 10 minutes before boarding closes, she said quietly. Tell me what's in the envelope. Elon picked it up with shaking hands. This was the moment. 7 years of carrying this secret, this response, this piece of his soul. After you left, he began, I wrote you a response, but I had no way to send it. You'd vanished. So I folded my letter inside yours and kept them together. His thumb traced the worn edge of the envelope. Wherever I went, Tokyo, Berlin, Washington, SpaceX, Tesla, this came with me. In my jacket pocket, against my heart. What does it say? Natasha whispered. Elon opened the envelope carefully like it might crumble. He pulled out 2 pieces of paper, Natasha's original letter, and beneath it his response yellowed with age. Can I read it to you? He asked. Natasha nodded, unable to speak. And in the middle of a crowded airport lounge with strangers watching and phones recording, Elon Musk began to read the letter he'd written 7 years ago to the woman who'd broken his heart by leaving, and whom he'd broken first. Elon's hands trembled as he unfolded his letter. The paper was soft from years of being folded and unfolded, read and reread in hotel rooms, on airplanes, in the middle of sleepless nights. He cleared his throat. His voice came out quiet, almost breaking. "Dear Natasha," he began reading, "you were right about everything." Natasha's hand flew to her mouth. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "I was a ghost," Elon continued, his voice steadier now. "I was physically present but emotionally absent. I chose rocket ships over holding your hand. I chose board meetings over breakfast with you. I chose saving humanity over loving my wife." He paused, swallowing hard. "I built companies but lost my home." Around them, the airport lounge had gone strangely quiet. People nearby had stopped pretending not to listen. A woman at the next table wiped her own eyes. Even the businessman who'd been talking loudly on his phone had hung up and was watching. "You asked me once what I was running toward," Elon read on. "The truth is I was running away from vulnerability, away from the terrifying intimacy of being truly known. Because being known means being seen, and being seen means someone can see your flaws, your fears, your failures." His voice cracked slightly. He paused to compose himself. "You knew me, Natasha, really knew me. You saw past the entrepreneur, past the mission statements and vision boards. You saw the scared kid who didn't know how to be still, who didn't know how to just be enough without achieving something, who equated his worth with his productivity." Natasha was openly crying now, not even trying to hide it. Her whole body shook with silent sobs. "I was terrified that if I stopped working, stopped building, stopped achieving, even for one dinner, even for one birthday, I would disappear, that I would look in the mirror and see nothing." Elon's own tears fell freely now, dropping onto the yellowed paper. "So I kept running, and I ran so fast and so far that I left you behind." A flight announcement echoed through the lounge, but neither of them heard it. "By the time I realized what I'd done, you were gone, really gone. And I understood something devastating. I had become exactly what I feared. I had disappeared. Not because I stopped working, but because I'd worked so much that I stopped being human. I stopped being your husband. I stopped being me." Elon looked up from the letter, meeting Natasha's eyes directly. The paper shook in his hands. "You wrote in your letter that you'd always love me," he said, his voice raw. "Even as you left, you wrote those words. I'll always love you, but I have to love myself more. Do you know how those words destroyed me? How they saved me?" Natasha shook her head, unable to speak. "They destroyed me because I realized I'd made you choose between loving me and loving yourself. What kind of monster does that?" Elon's jaw clenched. "But they saved me because they showed me what real love looks like. Real love doesn't ask you to disappear. Real love sees you and celebrates you and holds space for you to be whole." He looked back down at the letter, his voice dropping to almost a whisper. "I spent 3 years in therapy after you left. Did you know that? 3 years learning how to be a person again. Learning that my value isn't measured in launches or stock prices. Learning how to sit with silence, how to be present, how to be still without feeling like I'm dying." Natasha's eyes widened in surprise. "You went to therapy?" "Every week," Elon said simply. "Still do, because you were right. I needed to find myself before I could find you, and I'm not all the way there yet. Maybe I never will be, but I'm trying, I'm really trying." He turned the paper over. There was more written on the back. "The last thing I wrote was this," Elon continued. "Natasha, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to come back. You deserve someone who can love you the way you deserve, completely, presently, fully. Someone who doesn't need to lose you to understand what having you meant." His voice broke completely on the last sentence. He had to stop and take several deep breaths. "But I need you to know that losing you was the moment I woke up. Too late, yes, but I woke up. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to be the man you believed I could be. Not for you, you're gone, but because you showed me what it means to be truly alive." Elon set the letter down on the table carefully. His cheeks were wet, his eyes were red, he looked completely broken open. "I signed it forever yours, even though I have no right to be," he finished quietly. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The noise of the airport lounge rushed back in, announcements, conversations, the hum of travelers moving through their lives. But in their small booth, time stood still. Natasha reached across the table. This time she didn't stop herself. Her hand covered his. "You kept this," she whispered. "You kept it and carried it for 7 years. It was all I had left of us. Elon turned his hand over, lacing his fingers through hers. Her hand felt exactly like he remembered, small, warm, strong. That and memories that got harder to hold on to as years passed. I was terrified I'd forget the sound of your voice, the way you laughed, the way you looked at me like I was enough, even when I didn't believe it myself. I never forgot either, Natasha said softly. I tried to. God, I tried so hard to move on, to forget you, to build a life where you were just a chapter, not the whole book. Did it work? She shook her head slowly. No, you were everywhere, in every sunset because you loved watching them, in every rocket launch because I couldn't help watching, cheering for you from thousands of miles away. In every, she stopped abruptly, her face going pale. In every what? Elon asked gently. Natasha pulled her hand back. She looked at the clock on the wall. 7 minutes until boarding closed. 7 minutes until she'd have to walk away from him again. 7 minutes to tell him the truth. Elon, she said, her voice trembling. There's something I need to tell you. Something I've carried for 7 years, just like you carried that letter. His face went serious, concerned. What is it? She took a deep breath, steeling herself. This was it. The moment that would change everything. The secret that had lived inside her for so long it had become part of her. A month after I moved to Singapore, Natasha began, her voice barely audible. I found out I was pregnant. The world stopped spinning. Every sound in the airport lounge disappeared. Every movement froze. Every thought in Elon's head evaporated except for 3 words that repeated over and over. I was pregnant, I was pregnant, I was pregnant. His face went completely white. His mouth opened but no sound came out. His eyes went so wide she could see white all around the edges. What? He finally managed to whisper. Natasha's tears fell harder now, but her voice stayed steady. She'd practiced this moment 1,000 times in her mind. I have a daughter, Elon, we have a daughter. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands. Her name is Luna. She's 6 years old. Singapore 6 years ago. Natasha sat alone in a small clinic bathroom, staring at the pregnancy test in her trembling hands. 2 pink lines, clear as day, undeniable, pregnant. She'd been in Singapore for exactly 32 days. 32 days of trying to build a new life. 32 days of telling herself she'd made the right choice. 32 days of crying herself to sleep in a tiny apartment that smelled like someone else's cooking. And now this. She pressed her hand against her still flat stomach and felt a wave of emotion so powerful she had to grip the sink to stay standing. Terror, joy, confusion, love. So much love for a person who didn't even exist yet. A person who was half her and half Elon. Half Elon. Oh God, she whispered to her reflection. What do I do? The bathroom walls felt like they were closing in. She needed air, needed space, needed to think. But first she needed to tell him. Natasha tried calling that same day from a new phone number. Elon's assistant answered. Mr. Musk's office, how can I help you? Hi, this is Natasha Chen. I need to speak with Elon, it's urgent. Her heart pounded so hard she thought the assistant must hear it through the phone. I'm sorry, Ms. Chen, but Mr. Musk is in meetings all day. Can I take a message? No, you don't understand. I really need to speak with him. Today, it's important. She almost said it. Almost told this stranger about the baby, but something stopped her. It's personal, very personal. I understand, but Mr. Musk has given strict instructions not to be disturbed. He's preparing for a critical launch. If you'd like to leave a message, I can pass it along. Natasha felt tears building. Can you just tell him I called? Tell him it's Natasha and I really need to talk to him. Of course, I'll make a note. But the assistant's voice was polite in that way that meant the note would go into a pile with 100 other notes and Elon would never see it. Natasha hung up and tried 2 more times that week. Different assistants, same result. She sent emails to his old personal address, but they bounced back, mailbox full. She tried his work email, but those disappeared into the void of spam filters and automated responses. After 2 weeks of trying, Natasha made a decision. She would fly back to California and tell him face to face. Los Angeles, 5.5 years ago. Natasha stood outside the SpaceX building, her small baby bump just barely visible under her loose sweater. She was 3 months pregnant now. Soon she wouldn't be able to hide it anymore. She walked up to the security desk in the lobby. Hi, I need to see Elon Musk. It's urgent. The security guard looked her up and down with practiced skepticism. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but I was his wife. I'm Natasha Chen." She showed him her ID, as if that would somehow prove her connection to one of the most famous men in the world. The guard typed something into his computer. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but Mr. Musk isn't in the building today. And even if he were, I can't let anyone up without an appointment. Company policy." "Can you at least call his assistant? Tell them I'm here." "I can try, but..." The guard made a call, spoke quietly, hung up. "His assistant says Mr. Musk is out of the country and his schedule is fully booked for the next 3 months. She suggests you email to request an appointment." "I've tried emailing. The emails don't go through." The guard shrugged apologetically. "I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do." Natasha stood in that lobby for 20 minutes, hoping Elon would magically appear, that he'd walk through those doors and see her and everything would be okay. He never came. She flew back to Singapore the next day, defeated, exhausted, and increasingly angry. She'd tried. She'd really tried. But Elon had built walls so high around himself that even the mother of his child couldn't reach him. Maybe it was a sign, she thought as her plane took off. Maybe this baby deserved better than a father who was impossible to find. Better than a father who chose rockets over people. She made a decision somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. She would raise this baby alone. She would give her child everything Elon couldn't: presence, attention, time. She would be enough for both of them. She stopped trying to contact him after that. Singapore, 5 years ago. Luna was born on a rainy Tuesday in March. 6 pounds, 3 ounces, dark hair, eyes that looked exactly like Elon's, 10 perfect fingers, 10 perfect toes, a cry that sounded like the whole universe opening up. Natasha held her daughter for the first time and felt her heart break and heal simultaneously. This tiny person, this perfect miracle, was half made of the man she'd loved and lost. "Hi, Luna," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I'm your mama. And I promise you I will never leave. I will always see you. You will always matter most." Luna wrapped her tiny hand around Natasha's finger and held on tight. In that moment, Natasha knew she'd made the right choice. Luna deserved a parent who was fully present. If that parent could only be her, then so be it. But late at night, when Luna slept in her crib, Natasha would look at her daughter's face and see Elon. The same intense eyes, the same serious expression even in sleep, the same way of frowning when dreaming, like she was solving impossible problems in her baby brain. And Natasha would cry quietly, grieving the father-daughter relationship that would never exist, grieving the family they could have been. Singapore, 2 years ago. "Mama, why don't I have a daddy?" 4-year-old Luna asked one evening during dinner. Natasha had been dreading this question. She put down her fork carefully. "You do have a daddy, sweetheart. He just lives very far away." "Why doesn't he visit?" How do you explain to a 4-year-old that her father doesn't know she exists, that her mother tried to tell him but couldn't get through his walls? "Your daddy has very important work," Natasha said carefully, choosing her words like stepping through a minefield. "He's helping people, building things that will help the whole world. It keeps him very, very busy." "Busier than loving me?" Luna's question was so innocent, so devastating. "No, baby, never busier than loving you." Natasha pulled Luna onto her lap. "Your daddy doesn't know about you yet, but he would love you so much if he knew, I promise." "When will he know?" "I don't know, sweetheart, someday." Luna thought about this seriously. "Can I see pictures of him?" Natasha hesitated, then pulled out her phone. She showed Luna a photo from a news article: Elon at a rocket launch, looking up at the sky with that expression of wonder and determination. "That's him." Luna studied the photo intently. "He looks like me." "You look like him," Natasha corrected gently. "You have his eyes, his serious face, his brilliant mind." "He likes rockets," Luna's eyes lit up. "He loves rockets, he builds them." From that day on, Luna was obsessed. She watched every launch on the computer, Natasha holding her hand. She drew pictures of rockets with crayons. She built rockets from cardboard boxes and tape, creating elaborate designs that shocked her preschool teachers. "Your daughter is exceptionally gifted," one teacher told Natasha at a parent conference. "Her spatial reasoning is remarkable for her age. Does it run in the family?" Natasha just smiled sadly. "Yes, it runs in the family." Singapore, 1 year ago. 5-year-old Luna came home from school crying. Natasha's heart clenched. "What happened, baby?" "Kids at school say I'm making up my daddy." Luna's voice shook. "They say if I really had a daddy, he would come to school events. He would pick me up sometimes. They say I'm lying." Natasha felt rage and grief war inside her. "You're not lying, Luna. Your daddy is real. He's just—" "What? How did she explain this?" "He doesn't want to meet me," Luna finished quietly. "That's why he never comes." "No," Natasha knelt down, gripping Luna's shoulders. "That is not true. Your daddy doesn't know about you. That's very different from not wanting you." "Why doesn't he know?" Luna was getting older. The questions were getting harder. Natasha couldn't hide behind simple answers anymore. "Because when I tried to tell him, I couldn't reach him. He was too far away doing too many important things, and I was hurt and scared, so I stopped trying." Natasha's voice cracked. "That was my choice, not his. Your daddy never got the chance to choose. If he knew about you, Luna, he would love you. I know he would." "How do you know?" Elon's eyes stared at her with heartbreaking intensity. "Because you're the most lovable person in the entire world. Anyone who met you would love you instantly." Luna was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "If you saw him again, would you tell him about me?" "Yes," Natasha said without hesitation. "If I ever saw him again, I would tell him. I promise." "Promise, promise. Promise, promise." Luna held out her pinky finger. They locked pinkies, making it official. Binding. 3 months later, Natasha saw Elon's face on the news. He looked older, tired, but still him. Still the man she'd loved. Still the father of her child. Luna watched the interview with her, silent and focused. "That's my daddy," she whispered. "That's your daddy," Natasha confirmed. "He looks sad." Natasha looked closer. Luna was right. Despite his words about progress and achievements, there was something deeply sad in Elon's eyes, something missing. "Maybe he is sad," Natasha said softly, "because he doesn't know about me." Natasha pulled Luna close. "Maybe, baby, maybe." That night after Luna went to bed, Natasha sat in the dark and made a decision. If she ever ran into Elon, ever, anywhere, under any circumstances, she would tell him. No more protecting him from the truth. No more protecting herself from potential rejection. Luna deserved a father, and Elon deserved to know his daughter. She just never imagined it would happen so soon, or in an airport lounge, or that 7 years of secrets would come pouring out in 5 impossible minutes. Present day lacks airport lounge. Elon stared at the phone in Natasha's shaking hand. On the screen was a little girl with dark hair and pigtails, wearing a homemade astronaut costume made from cardboard and aluminum foil. She was grinning at the camera, holding up a drawing of a rocket. The world tilted sideways. "I have a daughter," Elon whispered. The words felt foreign in his mouth. "Impossible. We have a daughter." His hands went numb. His ears rang. His vision narrowed until all he could see was that photo, those eyes, that smile, that face that was unmistakably, undeniably his. "Her name is Luna," Natasha said, her voice trembling. "She turned 6 in March. She loves space. She builds rockets from cardboard and asks about the stars every single night." Natasha swiped to another photo. "This is her last week." Luna standing in front of a telescope, looking up at the sky with an expression of pure wonder. Elon's expression. His exact expression when he watched launches. "She looks just like you," Natasha whispered. Elon couldn't breathe. His chest felt tight, like someone was standing on it. He tried to speak, but no sound came out. His mouth opened and closed uselessly. "Elon," Natasha reached toward him, concerned. "Are you okay?" He wasn't okay. He was the opposite of okay. His entire reality had just shattered and reformed into something completely different. He had a daughter. A 6-year-old daughter he'd never met. A child who'd lived 6 years without him. 6 birthdays he'd missed. 6 Christmases, first steps, first words, first day of school. 6 years of moments he could never get back. His voice cracked. He tried again. "I didn't know. It was all he could manage. I know you didn't." Natasha set her phone on the table between them, Luna's face still visible on the screen. "I tried to tell you, Elon. I swear I tried." "When?" The word came out harsh, almost angry. Not at her, at himself, at the universe, at the cosmic joke that had kept this from him. "When did you try?" "A month after I left. I called your office 6 times. Different assistants. They all said you were busy in meetings preparing for launches. They took messages that you never got." Natasha's voice broke slightly. I sent emails, but they bounced back or got caught in spam filters. Your old personal email was full. Your work email auto-responded that you got thousands of messages daily. Elon felt sick. How many important things had been buried in the avalanche of messages that hit him daily? How many assistants had screened out the one call that mattered most? I flew to Los Angeles when I was 3 months pregnant, Natasha continued. I went to SpaceX security wouldn't let me up without an appointment. They called your assistant. She said you were out of the country and fully booked for months. I was in Japan, Elon remembered suddenly. There was a production crisis. I spent 6 weeks there. His hands clenched into fists. You were right downstairs and I didn't know. I tried, Elon. For 2 months I tried everything. Then she paused, wiping tears from her cheeks. I got angry. I thought if you'd wanted to talk to me, really wanted to, you would have found a way. I thought maybe you'd built those walls on purpose, to keep me out. I built them to keep everyone out, Elon said hoarsely. I never imagined you'd need to reach me about something like this. Around them, the airport lounge had gone completely silent. Everyone nearby was openly watching now. The teenager with his phone had moved even closer, his camera clearly recording everything. Elon didn't care. Let them watch, let them film. Let the whole world see him fall apart. So I gave up, Natasha said quietly. I decided to raise her alone. I thought maybe it was better that way. Better for Luna to have one parent who was fully present than a father who was impossible to reach. You should have tried harder. The words came out before Elon could stop them. Anger flared hot in his chest, irrational, misdirected, but real. Natasha's eyes flashed. I tried for 2 months, Elon, while pregnant and alone in a foreign country. While mourning, sick and terrified, I tried until I couldn't try anymore without losing myself completely. Her voice rose slightly. And you know what? You had 6 years to find me if you'd really wanted to. You're Elon Musk. You have resources I can't even imagine. If finding me mattered, you would have. The words hit like a slap, because she was right. He'd searched for her a few times, half-heartedly, then given up because he assumed she wanted to be left alone. He'd respected her silence instead of fighting for her, just like he'd respected his work schedule instead of fighting for their marriage. You're right, Elon said, the anger draining out of him as fast as it had appeared. You're absolutely right. I gave up too. I let you disappear because it was easier than facing what I'd done. Than facing how badly I'd failed you. He looked back at Luna's photo on the screen. She had his dark hair, his intense eyes, but she had Natasha's smile, warm and genuine, the perfect blend of both of them. Tell me about her, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Please, tell me everything. Natasha took a shaky breath. She's brilliant, scary brilliant. She taught herself basic coding at 5 by watching videos. She builds these elaborate structures from whatever she can find, boxes, tape, paper clips. Last month, she made a working pulley system to lift her stuffed animals to her top bunk. Despite everything, Elon felt his mouth twitch into an almost smile. That's amazing. She's obsessed with space, watches every launch. Natasha's voice softened. Your launches, specifically. She knows the name of every rocket, every mission. She has a poster of Starship on her bedroom wall. Elon's breath caught. She knows about me. I never hid you from her. I showed her photos when she was 4 and asked about her daddy. I told her you built rockets and wanted to help humanity reach the stars. Natasha looked down at her hands. I told her you didn't know about her yet, but that if you did, you'd love her. If I did, Elon's voice rose. Natasha, I would have dropped everything. How could you think I wouldn't want my own daughter? Because you didn't want me. The words burst out of Natasha like they'd been locked inside for years. You chose work over our marriage, over us. Why would I think a child would be different? Why would I believe you'd show up for her when you couldn't show up for me? The truth of it hung in the air between them, sharp and cutting. Elon had no defense, no argument, because she was right. He'd proven exactly that. Work came first, always first, before love, before connection, before everything. I'm sorry, he said, and the words felt pathetically inadequate. I'm so sorry, Natasha, for all of it, for failing you, for failing Luna before I even knew she existed, for building a life so inaccessible that even the mother of my child couldn't reach me. Natasha wiped her eyes. 3 months ago, Luna asked me why her daddy didn't want to meet her. She's 6 years old and she thinks you don't want her. Her voice cracked completely. That's why I'm telling you now. Not for me. Not even for you, for her. Elon felt something break inside his chest. Physical pain radiated through him. She thinks I don't want her. Kids at school tell her she's making you up, that if she really had a daddy, he'd be there. Natasha was crying openly now, and she can't defend herself because you're not there. You've never been there. I didn't know. Elon covered his face with his hands. His shoulders shook. I didn't know. For the second time in an hour, Elon Musk broke down crying in public. Deep, wrenching sobs that came from somewhere primal. Grief for 6 lost years. Rage at himself. Overwhelming love for a child he'd never met. Terror that he'd already failed her. Hope that maybe somehow it wasn't too late. The teenager recording them stepped back slightly, looking uncomfortable. Even he seemed to realize this was too private, too raw. Natasha reached across the table and took both of Elon's hands. He gripped them like a drowning man gripping a life preserver. Why are you telling me now? Elon asked through his tears. After all these years of silence, why tonight? Natasha took a deep breath. Because 3 months ago, after Luna asked me that question, I made her a promise. I promised that if I ever ran into you, ever, anywhere, I would tell you about her. She made me pinky swear. A pinky swear, Elon repeated, almost laughing through his tears. She's 6, pinky swears are binding. Natasha smiled slightly through her own tears. When I saw you tonight, I heard her voice in my head. Promise, promise, Mama. I couldn't run away again, not after I promised her. The airport announcement crackled to life. Final boarding call for Flight 287 to Singapore. All remaining passengers must board immediately. Natasha's eyes went wide. That's my flight. Where is she? Elon stood up abruptly, almost knocking over the table. Where's Luna right now? With my mother in Singapore, we're flying home tonight. I was just in LA for a conference. Natasha started gathering her things. I'm coming with you. Elon pulled out his phone. Elon, you can't just... Watch me? His fingers flew across the screen, texting his assistant. Cancel everything. All meetings, all calls, for the next 2 weeks. I have a daughter. I have a 6-year-old daughter who thinks I don't want her, and I'm going to fix that right now. Natasha stared at Elon as he frantically typed on his phone. His face was still wet with tears, but there was something else there now, determination. The same intensity he got when solving impossible problems. Elon, stop. She put her hand on his arm. You can't just drop everything and fly to Singapore. Yes, I can. He didn't look up from his phone. I'm texting my team now. They can handle things without me for 2 weeks. You have launches scheduled, board meetings. You told me yourself you had commitments. None of that matters. Elon finally looked up at her, and the raw emotion in his eyes made her breath catch. I have a daughter, Natasha, a daughter who thinks I abandoned her. Nothing is more important than that. But she doesn't know you're coming. Natasha's mind raced, trying to process everything happening too fast. She doesn't even know I saw you tonight. I can't just show up with you. She needs time to prepare, to understand. Then call her. Elon held out his phone. Call her right now. Tell her I'm coming. Tell her I didn't know about her, but now I do, and I'm coming. Natasha checked the time on the lounge clock. It's 3 in the morning in Singapore. She's asleep. Then we wake her up. Elon's voice was almost frantic. This is important enough to wake her up for, isn't it? Elon, Natasha's voice was gentle but firm. I need you to slow down, take a breath, think about this. I've been thinking about this for 3 minutes. I've already lost 6 years. I'm not losing another day. His jaw was set in that stubborn way she remembered. Once Elon made a decision, an earthquake couldn't change his mind. Around them, people continued watching. A businessman at a nearby table was clearly recording on his phone now, not even pretending to hide it. The video of Elon crying was probably already on social media. This moment, him frantically trying to book a flight to meet his secret daughter, would be viral within the hour. Natasha pulled Elon back down into his seat. Listen to me. I know you want to fix this immediately. That's who you are. You see a problem, you solve it. But Luna isn't a problem to be solved. She's a little girl who's built an entire fantasy about who her father is. What do you mean? Natasha's voice softened. She's 6 years old. She's watched you on TV, read about you in articles I've shown her. In her mind, you're this larger-than-life figure, a superhero who builds rocket ships and wants to save the world. She paused. Meeting you is going to be overwhelming for her, possibly even scary. Elon looked stricken. Scary? I don't want to scare her. You're not just daddy to her. You're Elon Musk. Do you understand the difference? Natasha leaned forward. She needs time to process that the person she's seen on screens is actually her father, that he's real and coming to meet her. So what do I do? Elon asked, and he sounded lost, vulnerable, like a man who'd built rockets and companies but had no idea how to approach his own child. You come to Singapore, Natasha said, but we do this carefully. We prepare her. We make sure she feels safe and in control. She pulled out her phone. I'll video call my mother first thing in the morning, Singapore time. I'll tell Luna that I ran into you, that you didn't know about her before but you do now. That you want to meet her more than anything. And if she doesn't want to meet me, the fear in Elon's voice was heartbreaking. She's been waiting her whole life to meet you, Natasha said gently. Trust me, that's not the issue. Then what is? Natasha hesitated. This was the part she'd been dreading, the part she hadn't told him yet. Elon, there's something else you need to know. His face went pale again. What? Is she sick? Is something wrong with her? No, nothing like that. She's perfectly healthy. Natasha took a deep breath. But she's not like other 6-year-olds. She's different. Different how? She tested off the charts in cognitive development. Her preschool teacher said she'd never seen anything like it. Natasha pulled up another photo on her phone, Luna at a whiteboard covered in mathematical equations. She taught herself multiplication at 4. She's reading at a 9th grade level. Her spatial reasoning is extraordinary. Elon stared at the photo. She's gifted. She's more than gifted, Elon. Natasha struggled for the right word. She's like you. Her brain works the way yours does. She gets obsessed with problems and won't stop until she solves them. She asks questions that most adults can't answer. She sees patterns everywhere. A strange expression crossed Elon's face. Pride mixed with something else, recognition maybe, or fear. That must be hard for her, he said quietly, being that different. It is. Natasha's eyes filled with tears again. She doesn't have many friends. Other kids don't understand her. She'd rather build rocket models than play pretend. She asks why about everything until her teachers get frustrated. That's how I was, Elon said. Exactly how I was. I know, that's why I'm telling you. Natasha reached across the table and took his hand again. Luna needs you, Elon. Not just because every girl needs her father, but because you're the only person in the world who will truly understand her, who can answer her impossible questions, who won't think she's weird or too much. Elon's throat worked as he swallowed hard. What if I mess this up? What if I'm not good enough for her? You're her father, that's already good enough. Natasha squeezed his hand. But Elon, I need you to promise me something. Anything. If you do this, if you get on that plane and meet her, you're all in. You can't decide in 3 months that it's too hard or too complicated. You can't choose your work over her the way you chose it over me. Her voice became fierce, almost angry. You show up or you don't start at all. Those are the only options. Elon met her eyes. I understand. Do you? Because Luna has already built up walls around the place where her father should be. If you break through those walls and then leave, it will destroy her. She'll never trust anyone again. I won't leave. Elon's voice was steel and certainty. I promise you, Natasha, I promise Luna, I won't disappear. I won't choose work over her. I won't make the same mistakes I made with you. How can you be sure? Because I already lost you. Elon's voice cracked. I already know what that feels like. I've carried that pain for 7 years. I won't survive losing her too. I won't do that to myself, and I definitely won't do that to her. Natasha studied his face, looking for any sign of doubt or hesitation. She found none, just raw determination and desperate sincerity. Okay, she said finally. Okay, you can come. Elon exhaled like he'd been holding his breath. Thank you. Don't thank me, just show up. That's all she needs, just show up. I will. Elon pulled out his phone again. What airline are you on? I'll book the same flight. It's probably full. I'll figure it out. He was already dialing. I know people. Of course he did. Elon Musk always figured things out. Natasha watched him make calls, pull strings, work his particular brand of magic. Within 10 minutes, he'd somehow gotten himself a seat on her flight. First class, right next to her. We board in 3 minutes, he said, standing up and grabbing his small carry-on bag. Is that enough time for you to tell me more about her? I could talk about her for 3 years and not run out of things to say, Natasha said, gathering her own things. They walked toward the gate together. Elon kept stealing glances at Luna's photo on Natasha's phone, which she'd left open on the lock screen. He couldn't stop looking at his daughter's face. What's her favorite food? He asked as they walked. Strawberries, and she's obsessed with dumplings. Favorite color? Silver, like rocket ships. Does she like music? She plays piano, taught herself mostly. She's not great yet, but she's determined. Natasha smiled. Everything she does, she's determined. Like her parents, Elon said quietly. They reached the gate just as final boarding was announced. The gate agent looked at Elon with wide eyes of recognition, but professionally checked their boarding passes without commenting. As they walked down the jet bridge, Elon suddenly stopped. Natasha. She turned back, yeah. What if she hates me? The fear in his voice was so genuine, so childlike, that Natasha's heart broke a little. She won't hate you, Elon. She's been waiting her whole life to meet you. Natasha touched his arm gently. But I need to warn you about something. What? She's going to ask you why you didn't come sooner. Natasha's voice was soft. She's going to want to know why it took 6 years, and you're going to have to answer her honestly. Elon's face went pale, but he nodded. I will. I'll tell her the truth. The truth being that her father was an idiot who didn't know what mattered, but he knows now, and he's going to spend the rest of his life making it up to her. Natasha felt tears building again. That's a good answer. They boarded the plane together, about to fly toward the most important meeting of Elon's life. Neither of them noticed the teenager from the lounge boarding the same flight 3 rows back, his phone still recording. The plane's cabin lights dimmed as they reached cruising altitude. Most passengers settled in for the long flight to Singapore, 14 hours of crossing the Pacific Ocean while the world below slept. Elon sat in the window seat, staring out at the darkness. Natasha sat beside him, her laptop open but untouched. Neither of them could focus on anything except what waited at the end of this flight. Tell me more, Elon said quietly. Please, I need to know everything. Natasha pulled out her phone and opened her photo gallery, thousands of pictures of Luna. She began scrolling through them slowly, narrating each one. This was her first day of kindergarten. She wore that NASA shirt for 3 days straight. I had to wash it while she slept. Natasha smiled at the memory. She insisted on bringing a model rocket for show and tell. Elon leaned closer, studying every detail of his daughter's face. This was her 5th birthday. She wanted a space-themed party, obviously. She made all the decorations herself, planets out of papier-mâché, stars from cardboard. Natasha swiped to the next photo. She blew out the candles and wished that her daddy would come meet her someday. Elon's breath caught. She wished for me. She wishes for you every birthday, every shooting star, every time the clock hits 11:11. Natasha's voice was thick with emotion. You're her biggest wish, Elon, her only real wish. Tears slid down Elon's face. He didn't bother wiping them away anymore. Natasha showed him more photos. Luna building elaborate structures from blocks. Luna staring intently at a computer screen, learning to code. Luna at the observatory, her face pressed against a telescope. Luna asleep with a stuffed rocket clutched to her chest. What does she know about why I wasn't there? Elon asked. I told her you have very important work. That you're trying to help humanity become a spacefaring civilization. That it keeps you very busy. Natasha paused. I never said you didn't want her. I made that very clear. But kids interpret things their own way. She thinks I chose rockets over her. Can you blame her? You chose rockets over me. The words came out before Natasha could stop them. She winced. Sorry, that wasn't fair. It was completely fair. Elon turned away from the window to look at her directly. I did choose rockets over you, over us, over everything that actually mattered. He paused. I've been in therapy for 3 years trying to figure out why. Natasha's eyebrows rose. You really went to therapy? Every week. Still do. Elon gave a sad half-smile. Dr. Morrison says I have intimacy avoidance patterns rooted in childhood trauma and a compulsive need to prove my worth through achievement. That sounds about right, Natasha said gently. She also says I use work as a shield against vulnerability. If I'm always busy saving humanity, I never have to deal with the terrifying reality of being truly seen by another person. Elon's voice dropped to a whisper. You saw me, Natasha, really saw me, and it scared me to death. So you ran away into work. I ran away into work, he confirmed. And I lost everything that mattered while convincing myself I was doing something important. They sat in silence for a moment. The plane hummed around them. Somewhere behind them, a baby cried. Flight attendants moved quietly through the cabin. Do you think she'll forgive me? Elon asked. Eventually. She's 6. She doesn't understand forgiveness yet. She just wants her daddy. Natasha reached over and took his hand. But yes, if you show up and keep showing up, she'll forgive you without you even having to ask. I don't deserve that. None of us deserve our children's unconditional love, but we get it anyway. Natasha squeezed his hand. That's what makes it so precious and so terrifying. Elon laced his fingers through hers. Can I ask you something? Anything. Did you ever, he struggled with the words, did you date anyone in Singapore? Did Luna ever have a father figure? Natasha had been expecting this question. I dated someone for about 3 years, a doctor named James. He was kind, patient, good with Luna. Elon's jaw tightened, but he kept his voice neutral. What happened? I ended it because I realized I was comparing him to you. Every time he did something thoughtful, I'd think, but Elon used to. Every time Luna asked him a complicated question and he couldn't answer, I'd think Elon would know. Natasha looked down at their joined hands. It wasn't fair to him. He deserved someone who loved him fully, not someone still hung up on her ex-husband. You were still hung up on me. Elon's voice held something like hope. I never stopped loving you, Elon. I just learned to live with the pain of it. Natasha met his eyes. Every time I saw you on the news, my heart would skip. Every launch, I'd watch and pray it went well. Every interview, I'd study your face and wonder if you were happy, if you'd found someone, if you'd moved on. I never moved on, Elon said firmly. I dated, went through the motions, but nobody was you. Nobody understood me like you did. Nobody called me on my bullshit. Nobody made me want to be better. Until now, Natasha said softly. Luna will make you want to be better. She already does, doesn't she? You've known about her for less than an hour and you've already canceled 2 weeks of your life. I'd cancel the rest of my life if that's what she needed. Don't say things like that unless you mean them. I mean them. Elon's voice was absolute certainty. I've spent my entire adult life chasing the future, Mars, sustainable energy, artificial intelligence. Always the future, never the present, but Luna is my present. She's been living and growing and existing right now for 6 years and I missed it. I won't miss any more. A flight attendant appeared beside them. Mr. Musk, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but there's a situation. Elon looked up, irritated at the interruption. What kind of situation? There's a passenger a few rows back who's been recording you on his phone for the past hour. Our policy is that passengers can't film other passengers without consent, but he's refusing to stop. He says. The attendant looked uncomfortable. He says the video of you crying in the airport lounge already has 50 million views. He's live streaming your conversation now. Natasha felt the blood drain from her face. He's live streaming us. I'm afraid so. And apparently people have figured out you're on this flight to Singapore. It's trending worldwide. Elon's secret daughter is the #1 topic on Twitter. Elon's face went hard. Get me his phone now. Sir, I can't confiscate. Then get the captain. This is a violation of privacy, of my privacy and especially of my daughter's privacy. Elon's voice was cold steel. That video comes down now, or I'm buying this airline and firing everyone. The flight attendant paled. I'll speak to the captain immediately. She hurried away. Elon pulled out his own phone, cursing when he saw dozens of missed calls and hundreds of messages. He scrolled through them rapidly, his face growing darker with each one. "It's everywhere," he said quietly. "Every news site, every social media platform. The video of me crying, speculation about who you are, theories about a secret child." He looked at Natasha with stricken eyes. "I'm so sorry. I should have been more careful, should have taken you somewhere private." "It's not your fault." But Natasha's hands were shaking. She opened her own phone and saw messages from her mother, her friends, colleagues. Everyone had seen the video. Everyone knew. "We have to call Luna," Natasha said urgently. "Before she sees this online, before someone at school tells her, she needs to hear it from us." Elon checked his watch. "It's 5 a.m. in Singapore." "I don't care, we're calling her now." Natasha was already dialing her mother's number. The phone rang 3 times before a groggy voice answered. "Natasha, what's wrong? It's 5 in the morning." "Mom, I need you to wake up Luna. Right now, it's important." Her mother's voice sharpened with concern. "Is everything okay? Are you safe?" "I'm fine, better than fine, but I need to talk to Luna immediately." Natasha glanced at Elon, whose face was pale with anxiety. "I'm with someone who wants to talk to her too." "Who?" "Just wake her up, Mom, please." She heard rustling footsteps, a door opening. Her mother's voice gentle, "Luna, sweetheart, wake up, baby, Mommy's on the phone." A sleepy child's voice confused, "Mama, what's wrong?" Natasha's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Elon, who was frozen, hardly breathing. "Nothing's wrong, baby. Something wonderful happened." Natasha's voice shook. "Remember how you made me promise that if I ever saw your daddy, I'd tell him about you?" Silence, then Luna's voice suddenly wide awake. "You saw him, you saw my daddy." "I saw him, sweetheart, at the airport in Los Angeles, and I told him about you. I told him everything." "What did he say?" Luna's voice was so small, so hopeful, so scared. Natasha looked at Elon. His face was wet with tears, but he nodded. "He wants to talk to you," Natasha said. "He's right here, on the plane with me. We're flying to Singapore right now. He wants to meet you, Luna. He wants to meet you more than anything in the world." "Really?" Luna's voice broke. "He really wants to meet me?" "Really, truly. I'm going to put him on the phone now, okay?" "Okay," Luna whispered. Natasha handed the phone to Elon. He held it like it was made of glass, like it was the most precious, most terrifying object in the universe. He took a deep breath and spoke. "Hi, Luna," he said, his voice cracking. "I'm your daddy, and I've been waiting my whole life to talk to you." On the other end of the line, 6-year-old Luna Chen began to cry. "Don't cry, sweetheart," Elon said softly into the phone, his own voice thick with tears. "Please don't cry." "Are you real?" Luna's voice was tiny and trembling. "Are you really my daddy, not just on TV?" "I'm real. I'm very real." Elon pressed the phone closer to his ear, as if he could somehow get closer to his daughter through sheer will. "I'm on an airplane right now, flying to Singapore to meet you." "Why didn't you come before?" The question Elon had been dreading, asked in the innocent, direct way only a 6-year-old could ask. He glanced at Natasha, who gave him an encouraging nod. "Tell the truth, because I didn't know about you, Luna. Your mama tried very hard to tell me, but I didn't get her messages. He struggled for words a 6-year-old would understand. "I was lost in my work, not paying attention to the right things, and I missed something very important. I missed you." "The kids at school say you don't want me," Luna said, her voice wobbling. "They say if you really wanted me, you would have come." Elon felt like his heart was being ripped out of his chest. "Those kids are wrong, Luna, so wrong. I've wanted you from the moment your mama told me about you. I just didn't know you existed until tonight. But now I know, and nothing in the whole universe could keep me away." "Promise." "I promise. Cross my heart and hope to," Elon paused, changing the phrase. "I promise on every star in the sky." He heard Luna's sharp intake of breath. "You know about wishing on stars. Your mama told me you wish on stars, that you wished for me." Elon's voice broke. "I'm so sorry I didn't come sooner, Luna. I'm so sorry you had to wish and wait, but I'm coming now. I'll be there when you wake up in the morning." "Will you stay?" Luna's question was small and scared. "Or will you have to leave for your rockets?" The question cut deep because it was so fair, so reasonable, so based on everything Luna knew about him. "I'm staying for 2 weeks," Elon said. "Maybe longer, as long as you want me there." "Forever," hope crept into Luna's voice. "Can you stay forever?" "I can't stay in Singapore forever because I have work in America, but I promise I'll come back. A lot. And maybe you can come visit me too. Would you like that?" "Can I see your rockets?" Suddenly, Luna sounded more awake, more excited. Despite everything, Elon smiled. "You can see all the rockets. You can even help me build them if you want. Your mama says you're really good at building things." "I made a rocket from cardboard boxes. It has stages and everything. I used toilet paper rolls for the engines." "That sounds amazing. Can you show it to me when I get there?" "Yes," Luna's voice was brighter now. "And I can show you my drawings. I drew pictures of Mars, and I have a poster of Starship on my wall. Do you really think we can go to Mars someday?" "I know we can, and maybe you'll be one of the first people to go there." Elon's voice filled with warmth. "Your mama says you're brilliant, that you understand math and science better than most adults." "I like solving problems," Luna said simply. "Is that weird?" "Not weird at all. I like solving problems too. That's how I spend most of my time." "Mama says I'm like you, that my brain works like yours." "Then you have an amazing brain," Elon said, "and I can't wait to meet the person it belongs to." There was a pause. Then Luna asked quietly, "What if you don't like me when you meet me? What if I'm not what you wanted?" The question shattered Elon. How could this 6-year-old child already doubt her worthiness? "Luna, listen to me very carefully," Elon said, his voice intense. "You are exactly what I want. You are my daughter. You could be anyone, anything, and I would love you completely. Do you understand? Even if I'm weird. Kids say I'm weird because I'd rather read than play." "I was the weird kid too," Elon said gently. "I read encyclopedias for fun. I asked too many questions. I didn't fit in. Being weird means being special, being different, and different people are the ones who change the world." "Really? Really, truly, promise, promise." Elon used the phrase Natasha had told him Luna loved. He heard Luna's delighted gasp. "Mama says that." "Your mama taught me." Elon looked at Natasha, who was crying silently beside him, her hand over her mouth. "Luna, can I ask you something?" "Okay. Are you scared to meet me?" Luna was quiet for a moment, thinking. "A little bit. You're really famous. What if I say something dumb?" "You couldn't say anything dumb if you tried. And I'm not famous to you. I'm just your dad. Just a regular person who builds things and asks too many questions and really wants to meet his daughter." "I want to meet you too," Luna whispered. "I've wanted to my whole life." "Then we both got our wish." Elon smiled through his tears. "Luna, I have to give the phone back to your mama now. The flight attendants need us to turn off our phones, but I'll see you in about 12 hours, okay?" 12 hours, Luna repeated like she was memorizing it. "That's when you land." "That's when I land. Will you be there?" "I'll be at the airport." Luna's voice was excited now, no longer scared. "I'll wear my astronaut costume." "I can't wait to see it." Elon's voice was thick with emotion. "Luna." "Yeah. I love you. I know I just met you, but I love you so much already. More than rockets, more than anything." He heard her start crying again, but happy crying this time. "I love you too, Daddy." Daddy, she'd called him Daddy. The word hit Elon like a physical force. "See you soon, sweetheart, I promise." Elon handed the phone back to Natasha, unable to speak anymore. Natasha took over, talking to Luna and her mother, making plans for the morning. Elon turned to stare out the window at the darkness, his shoulders shaking with silent sobs. He had a daughter. A brilliant, weird, beautiful daughter who loved space and asked hard questions and wished on stars. A daughter who was scared he wouldn't like her when the truth was he already loved her more than he knew was possible. Natasha finished the call and set her phone down. She reached over and took Elon's hand again. "You did good," she said softly. "I told her I love her. Was that too soon?" Elon wiped his face with his other hand. "It was perfect. She needed to hear it." Natasha leaned her head on his shoulder. "She's going to be a wreck for the next 12 hours, too excited to sleep. She'll drive my mother crazy." I'm going to be a wreck for the next 12 hours, Elon admitted. What do I say when I meet her? What do I do? You just be yourself, the real you, not the CEO you. Natasha closed her eyes. She doesn't want Elon Musk the entrepreneur. She wants her dad. What if I don't know how to be her dad? Nobody knows how to be a parent before they become one. You just love her and show up and try your best. That's all anyone can do. Elon was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, "Did I sound okay on the phone? I felt like I was babbling." "You sounded like a father talking to his daughter for the first time. You sounded perfect." A flight attendant appeared again. "Mr. Musk, we spoke to the passenger. He's deleted the live stream and agreed to delete all footage of you from this flight. The captain threatened to land the plane and have him arrested if he didn't comply." "Thank you," Elon said, but he knew the damage was already done. The video from the airport lounge had already spread everywhere. By morning, the whole world would know about Luna. As if reading his thoughts, Natasha said, "We should probably prepare for what's waiting in Singapore. There will be reporters at the airport. I'll hire security. We'll use a private exit." Elon was already planning. "Luna shouldn't have to deal with cameras and questions her first time meeting me." "Thank you," Natasha squeezed his hand, "for protecting her." "Always," Elon said. "From now on, always." They sat in comfortable silence as the plane flew through the night. Below them, the Pacific Ocean stretched endlessly. Above them, stars shone, the same stars Luna wished on. Somewhere over the ocean, Elon fell asleep with his hand still holding Natasha's. He dreamed of a little girl in a cardboard astronaut costume, smiling at him with his own eyes, asking him impossible questions about the universe. When he woke 3 hours later, Natasha was watching him. "You smiled in your sleep," she said softly. "I was dreaming about Luna." "Good dreams." "The best dreams." Elon straightened in his seat. "How many hours left?" 9. Try to sleep more. You're going to need your energy. 6-year-olds are exhausting. But Elon couldn't sleep. He spent the rest of the flight asking Natasha questions about Luna. What books does she like? What makes her laugh? What scares her? What does she eat for breakfast? What time does she go to bed? Natasha answered everything patiently, painting a picture of their daughter with words. By the time the captain announced their descent into Singapore, Elon felt like he knew Luna. Not completely, that would take years, but enough to love her, more than enough. As the plane touched down, Elon looked at Natasha. "I'm terrified," he admitted. "Me too," she said, "but we're doing this together, all three of us." The plane taxied to the gate. Passengers stood up, grabbing bags from overhead compartments. Elon and Natasha stayed seated, holding hands, gathering courage. "Ready?" Natasha asked. Elon took a deep breath. "Ready." They stood up together and walked toward the exit, toward security and reporters and chaos, but more importantly, toward Luna, toward family, toward everything that mattered. Singapore Changi Airport, 7:30 a.m. The private exit Elon had arranged led them through a quiet hallway away from the main terminal. Security guards flanked them, keeping the handful of reporters who discovered their arrival at a distance. Camera flashes exploded. Questions were shouted. "Mr. Musk, is it true you have a secret daughter?" "Elon, how long have you known?" "Ms. Chen, did you hide his child from him?" Elon kept his head down, his hand firmly holding Natasha's. They moved quickly through the corridor and into a waiting car. The door slammed shut, muffling the chaos outside. "That was insane," Natasha breathed, her heart racing. "It's going to get worse before it gets better." Elon pulled out his phone. Already news articles were everywhere, photos of them leaving the plane, speculation, commentary, the whole world watching. But he didn't care about any of it. He cared about one thing only. "How far to your apartment?" he asked. 20 minutes in this traffic." Natasha checked her own phone. A text from her mother. She's been awake since 5 a.m., dressed in her astronaut costume, won't eat breakfast, too excited, hurry. Natasha showed Elon the message. He smiled despite his nerves. "She's wearing the costume." "I told you she would." Natasha looked at him seriously. "Elon, one more thing before we get there." "What?" "When you meet her, let her come to you. Don't rush toward her or try to hug her right away. She needs to feel in control of this moment." "Okay," Elon nodded, filing the information away. "What else?" She's going to ask you a million questions. Answer them honestly. She can tell when adults are lying or sugarcoating things. Got it. And if she seems overwhelmed or scared, we take a break. We don't push. Natasha, Elon took both her hands. I'm going to follow your lead. You know her. I trust you. The words seemed to release some tension in Natasha's shoulders. Thank you. The car wound through Singapore's clean, modern streets, past high-rises and green spaces, past morning commuters starting their day, completely unaware that in one small apartment, a little girl was about to meet her father for the first time. When they pulled up to a modest apartment building, Elon's heart started pounding so hard he thought he might pass out. This is it, Natasha said quietly. They took the elevator to the 7th floor in silence. Elon watched the numbers light up 4, 5, 6, 7, each one bringing him closer to the most important moment of his life. The elevator doors opened. They walked down a narrow hallway. Natasha stopped in front of apartment 7C. Ready? She asked. Elon realized his hands were shaking. No, but let's do this anyway. Natasha unlocked the door and pushed it open. The apartment was small but cozy. Children's drawings covered one wall. Bookshelves overflowed with science books and novels. A telescope stood by the window. And there in the living room stood Natasha's mother, Patricia, but Elon barely saw her, because behind Patricia, peeking out nervously, was Luna. She was tiny, so much smaller than he'd imagined. The cardboard astronaut costume was elaborate. She'd clearly spent hours making it. Silver paint, careful details, a helmet made from a plastic bowl. Her dark hair was in 2 braids, and his eyes were huge and scared and hopeful all at once. Time stopped. 7 years of loss, of grief, of carrying regret in his pocket, all of it led to this moment. This little girl, this perfect stranger who was also somehow a part of him. Hi, Elon said softly. His voice cracked. Luna didn't move. She just stared at him, her small hands clutching the sides of her costume. Luna, sweetheart, Natasha said gently, kneeling down. This is your daddy. He flew all night on an airplane to meet you. Luna took one small step forward, then another. She studied Elon's face with an intensity that reminded him of himself, looking for patterns, analyzing, understanding. You look like your pictures, she finally said, but older and more tired. Despite his nerves, Elon laughed. That's probably accurate. It was a long flight. 14 hours, Luna said. I calculated it. Los Angeles to Singapore. That's 8,770 miles. You calculated that yourself? Elon asked, genuinely impressed. Luna nodded solemnly. I'm good at math. Your mama told me. She says you're brilliant. Are you disappointed? The question came out small and scared. Elon's heart broke. Disappointed? Luna, no. Why would you think that? Because I'm weird. Kids at school say so. And maybe you wanted a normal daughter who likes normal things. Elon slowly lowered himself to the floor, sitting cross-legged so he was at her eye level. He was careful not to move closer, letting her control the distance between them. Can I tell you a secret? He asked. Luna nodded, her eyes wide. I was the weird kid too. I read encyclopedias for fun. I taught myself computer programming when I was 10. Other kids didn't understand me. They thought I was strange. Elon's voice was gentle. But being weird isn't bad, Luna. Weird means your brain works differently. It means you see things other people miss. All the people who changed the world were weird. Really? Really, truly, promise, promise. Luna's face lit up at the familiar phrase. She took another step closer. Can I ask you something? She said. Anything. Why do you want to go to Mars? It was such a Luna question, skipping past small talk straight to the big philosophical stuff. Elon loved her even more for it. Because I think humanity needs a backup plan, he said seriously, talking to her like an equal. Earth is our home, but what if something bad happens? What if we need another place to live? Plus, exploring is part of being human. We've always wondered what's beyond the next mountain, the next ocean, the next planet. Luna considered this. That makes sense, but won't it be lonely, Mars? It might be at first, but we'll bring people, build cities, make it a real home. Elon paused. Would you want to go someday to Mars? Luna's whole face transformed with wonder. Could I? If you wanted to, and when you're old enough, absolutely. You could even help build the ships that take us there. I want to, Luna bounced slightly, her excitement overcoming her shyness. I want to help build everything. She took another step forward. Now she was only a few feet away. Can I see your hands? Luna asked suddenly. My hands. Elon held them out, confused. Luna reached out tentatively and placed her small hands palm to palm with his. Her hands were so tiny they barely covered half of his. Same hands, she said softly. Mama said we have the same hands, long fingers, good for building things. Elon looked down at their hands together, his large and calloused, her small and perfect, and felt tears streaming down his face. Yeah, he whispered, same hands. Luna studied his face with that intense gaze. Why are you crying? Are you sad? No, sweetheart, I'm happy. So happy I finally get to meet you. His voice shook. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sorry I wasn't here for your birthdays and your first day of school and all the other important things. But I'm here now, and I'm going to be here as much as I possibly can. Luna was quiet for a long moment. Then she asked the question that had been building inside her for 6 years. Do you love me, even though you just met me? More than all the stars in all the galaxies, Elon said without hesitation. More than rockets, more than Mars, more than anything I've ever built or dreamed of building. You're the most important thing in my universe, Luna. You always will be. Luna's eyes filled with tears. Her lip trembled. Then suddenly she launched herself forward, wrapping her small arms around Elon's neck. He caught her, holding his daughter for the first time, and felt something fundamental shift in his soul. All the pieces of himself that had been scattered and lost suddenly clicked into place. This was what mattered. Not launches or innovations or changing the world. This little girl who smelled like strawberry shampoo and cardboard paint. Who was weird and brilliant and perfect. Who'd been waiting her whole life for this moment. I love you, Daddy, Luna sobbed against his shoulder. I love you too, baby girl, so much. Elon held her tighter, never wanting to let go. Behind them, Natasha was crying. Patricia was crying. Even the security guard standing by the door looked misty-eyed. They stayed like that for a long time, father and daughter meeting at last, making up for 6 lost years in one perfect embrace. When Luna finally pulled back, she wiped her eyes and said, Can you stay for breakfast? I want to show you my cardboard rocket, and my drawings, and my code project. I'm building a simple calculator program. I can stay for breakfast and lunch and dinner and as long as you want me here, Elon said, smiling through his tears. Forever, Luna asked hopefully. I can't stay in Singapore forever because I have work in California, but I'll come back all the time, and you can visit me. We'll make it work, okay? I promise I'll never disappear. Luna studied his face, judging his sincerity with that intense, analytical gaze. Whatever she saw there satisfied her because she nodded. Okay, promise, promise. Promise, promise. Elon held out his pinky. Luna linked her pinky with his, sealing the deal. Now come see my rocket. She grabbed his hand and pulled him toward her room. It has 3 stages and I used real physics to calculate the thrust ratios. As Elon let his 6-year-old daughter drag him down the hallway, talking a mile a minute about rocket engineering, he looked back at Natasha. She was standing in the doorway, smiling that smile he'd fallen in love with years ago. Thank you, he mouthed. She just nodded, her eyes shining with tears and hope and the beginning of something that might eventually become forgiveness, become healing, become a family put back together in a new way. 3 hours later. Elon sat on Luna's bedroom floor, surrounded by cardboard rockets, drawings, and coding books. Luna was explaining her calculator program, her words tumbling over each other in excitement. Natasha appeared in the doorway with tea. You two doing okay? Daddy understands my code, Luna said excitedly, and he's going to help me fix the bug in my division function. Is he? Natasha smiled. If you'll let me, Elon said, looking up at her. I think that would be wonderful. Luna went back to her computer, absorbed in the problem. Elon stood up and walked over to Natasha. She's incredible, he whispered. Absolutely incredible. I know. Thank you for telling me, for giving me this chance. Elon's voice was thick with emotion. I don't deserve it, but I'm grateful for it. You're her father, she deserves to know you, and you deserve to know her. They stood there in the doorway watching their daughter work on her code, completely absorbed. What happens now? Elon asked quietly. Now you keep your promise, you show up. You call her every day when you're not here. You make her a priority. Natasha looked at him seriously. And if you can do that, if you can really be present for her, then maybe we figure out what comes next, for all of us. I can do that, I will do that. Elon met her eyes. I meant what I said on the plane, I'm all in, whatever it takes. Natasha searched his face looking for doubt or hesitation. She found none, just determination and love and the beginning of healing. Okay, she said softly, then let's try. The end 6 months later, epilogue. The video of Elon breaking down in the airport lounge eventually stopped trending. The news cycle moved on to other stories, but the truth of what happened in those 5 minutes became something the world would remember. Not a scandal, not a controversy. A father discovering his daughter, a man realizing what actually mattered, a family beginning to heal. Elon kept his promise. He video called Luna every single day, no matter where he was in the world. He flew to Singapore twice a month. Luna visited California and attended rocket launches, wearing her constantly improving homemade astronaut costumes. Slowly, carefully, Elon and Natasha rebuilt their relationship, not rushing back into romance, just learning to be partners in raising their extraordinary daughter, learning to be friends again, learning that love doesn't always disappear. Sometimes it just transforms into something different, something stronger. On Luna's 7th birthday, she blew out her candles surrounded by both her parents. "What did you wish for?" Natasha asked. Luna looked at her mother on one side and her father on the other, both smiling at her with so much love. "I can't tell you or it won't come true," she said seriously. Then she grinned. "But I think it already did." That night after Luna was asleep, Elon and Natasha sat on her tiny balcony looking at the stars. "Do you remember what you wrote at the end of your letter?" Elon asked quietly. "Find me when you've found yourself," Natasha recited. "I think I'm getting there," Elon said. "Because of you, because of Luna, because you both showed me what I was looking for all along." Natasha leaned her head on his shoulder. It felt right, natural, like coming home. "We have a long way to go," she said softly. "I know, but I'm here, I'm finally here." Above them, stars shone, the same stars Luna wished on every night, the same stars that had witnessed their love story begin, break, and now slowly heal, the same stars that promised anything was possible if you waited for the right moment. And sometimes the right moment found you in the most unexpected places, like an airport lounge, on a rainy Tuesday, when you ran into the person you never stopped loving, and discovered you had a daughter who'd been wishing on stars for you her whole life. If this story touched your heart, I'd love to know, where are you listening from? Drop your country or city in the comments below. And if you believe in second chances and the power of love, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Let's spread kindness together, one story at a time. There's another incredible story waiting for you right now. Just click on the video appearing on your screen. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Thank you for being here. See you in the next one.